What's up, my people? Welcome back to Vertical Football. Welcome back to another episode of 5 Things We Learned. Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 1. Guys, a lot of talking points in this game. A loss for United. I think it was really, really painful for me. I have to say, not necessarily because of the loss, even though yes, losses are painful, but I think it was painful because we could literally see the weaknesses of Aston Villa. We could see the weaknesses. But when you see the weaknesses of Aston Villa, you can also look at your team and say, United does not have what it takes, to capitalize on those weaknesses. So guys, let's jump right into the game. Let's analyze the game. And the first point I want to say is the game did not start as expected for United. When I was thinking about how the game would go in my mind before the match, I was like, I don't expect United to start on the front foot. Why? Because of, the likes of Mbeumo is not around, the likes of Amad is not around. The automatism, the dynamics of them constantly playing with these guys will obviously not be there. And I think that's why United, in my opinion, struggled because the characteristics of the players in certain positions were not available. And so, it's expected that a team that doesn't have that automatism will struggle. But also when you look at the fact that as the game went on in the first half, United grew into the game. And I think that was expected that as time goes on, we'll grow into the game. And when we grew into the game, you would also see that clearly, especially in the first half, clearly the weaknesses of Aston Villa were there. Aston Villa's spine, the midfield spine, was very, very weak. It was clear, it was obvious. The way to hurt them was to hurt them with intricate passes in that hole. And I felt, when I saw that weakness, I was like, okay, let's see if we can find a way where, because Ugarte is one playing our midfield partner now, can we find a way where we can structure it a way where Bruno has a lot more opportunities to push ahead and do some damage? Because Cunha was already doing damage, and you could see throughout the game, Cunha was able to do that damage there to have actions there because that spine was very, very weak from Aston Villa. And it was just easy to just push through. You can see Cunha sometimes we just move, and have a lot of actions in that area because that spine was obviously weak. But we couldn't get Bruno as much as we wanted to push high, partly because of the midfield partner of Ugarte, and the fragility of what Ugarte was doing on the ball and also, in the overall game. So, but the worst happened. Where we were still calculating, what can we do to capitalize against Aston Villa's weaknesses? In that spine, Bruno had an injury. And for me, the moment Bruno started limping and it was not, I just said it, United is not going to get anything from this game. We try, we're going to get a draw. What I said to myself, I said, we are not getting anything from this game. The game is gone. It's gone. And I think people need to understand the impact of Bruno Fernandes on this team. It's not just Bruno, okay, say people say Bruno loses the ball. Every player, as I've said many times, has his pros and cons. Bruno is a life wire to this team. Bruno is an energy bringer to this team. You understand? Bruno's passes makes us more intrusive. Right? And you can see the second half, Martinez replaced Bruno Fernandes. Martinez came in. Martinez is a calm guy, good on the ball. And I think you could see that calmness in our midfield. For most parts in the second half, you could see that intricate piercing passes. But the reality is, we needed more than the piercing passes. It was good, but we also needed passes like what Bruno Fernandes would give us in terms of passes, that a forward will run to. Because when you look at the intricate passes Martinez did, it was very nice. But those passes were passes that are meant for a different kind of team with a different kind of ability. They are good passes. They are premium passes. But for those who don't understand what I'm trying to say, it's a different kind of team that collects those passes where the ball comes to meet the player. For Man United, we don't really necessarily want it to come to meet the player. We want it to be ahead of the player. So people that understand the game understand what I'm trying to picture out there. But Martinez did well. Obviously, fantastic. Good eye for the game. It shows us that he can definitely do a business that we all know he can definitely do a business in the midfield. But the fact is, we miss Bruno Fernandes. We miss what he could give us. And there's nobody in that team from the first team to the academy that can give us what that guy gives us. So sometimes I know we can be emotional sometimes and say we want Bruno out of the club. But I've always said many times, it's not about getting Bruno out of the club. It's about who replaces Bruno Fernandes. And that's the big question we have to ask ourselves. If we want this guy to go, we need to put in strategies to make sure that what this guy gives us, we can actually replace it. And for now, I've not seen how we replace it in terms of not just in terms of the game, in terms of what it brings into the game, in terms of the morale, it also brings into the game. In terms of the energy, it also brings into the game. I've not seen that. And obviously, another way to look at it is the captain band was transferred from Bruno to Diogo Dalot. And you would expect sometimes that there are some players that should be sensible enough that when the captain band is transferred to you, maybe it's definitely an added responsibility, and maybe it should give you an extra motivation. Dalot got worse and worse after the captain band was given to him. It's not as if before it was given to him, it was that good. But gradually, as the game progressed with the captain band, it got worse and worse and worse. For me, I blame Dalot partly for the second goal. The ability for him to allow Morgan, to allow what they call it, this guy for them to be able to turn Morgan. I think it was Morgan, right? For him to allow that guy to be able to turn. For me, I think it's a criminal offense. For him to allow him to, there was a period where he could have touched him, apply pressure. Dalot was looking for what exactly? This is your man. This is the ball. Apply pressure. He allowed the guy to turn to face him, and then the guy did a ball in. For me, I felt Dalot was rubbish in today's game, but it's not a news. Even when he was performing, I was like, yeah, he did well in this game. But I always know Dalot, and I know we always know Dalot. Dalot has the games where he messed up, and I think today he messed up in that moment. Dalot was not in this game. There's certain moments where I can count up like 5 moments where Dalot was passive in the defending. There was no pressure, but you're giving the captain armband, and you should be charging. You should be a leader to show an example. He did not show an example. And for me, I think I've said it many times, we have to start planning strategies for other guys to go. Yeah, he looks like a nice guy. He looks like a friendly guy, but the fact is, really, where we are going to, we don't need someone like him. But in the meantime, even in this meantime, it's not helping matters for himself. No pressure, just to put pressure on the opposition player. He didn't do that. So let's move on to other talking points. Obviously, Euro under this thing, and that's when I want to also praise. I have to praise Aston Villa and their manager, because they are their own weaknesses, as I said earlier. The spine, that's the spine of the midfield. They were very, very vulnerable in the center of the pitch. That's Aston Villa. But they also knew that United was vulnerable because we had reactive players on the right-hand side of our play, especially the defensive aspect. That's Dalot and Euro. And you could also see the difference between a Mazaraoui and Ahmad. These guys are many times proactive. When you come, they go to meet you. They go. But when you have Euro and Dalot, today's game, they were reactive. They wanted you to calm down, to be comfortable, to do what you want to do. Because those two goals were goals that created from a player being comfortable to do what you can do. There was no pressure on him. And it's not like a training ground goals, because whenever there's no pressure on you, you will do the magical things you can do in your training ground. It's just like when someone is in the bedroom and wants to sing. Without pressure, they can be the best singer. And for me, looking at the fact that we're giving a player like that 2 times the opportunity to do what he can do in the training ground, to do it on the great stage, on the grand stage, for me, I think it's a criminal offense, and I think it was really, really bad to see. Really, really bad to see. So United was toothless after Bruno left. I said I was just watching the game like this. Let the game end. When it was 1-1, I was like, okay, let's see if we can be serious enough to keep this at 1-1. But for me, I never saw anyhow, no matter the sub we do, except we are just being lucky where we score a second goal. There was nothing again. Yeah, we had the ball, we had good movement, we had good opportunities, good play. We're still like in charge for most parts of the game. We're still able to do a lot of things, but we're toothless. We're toothless in general play. We're toothless in our set pieces, right? We're toothless in our corners. You understand? We're toothless. The likes of Delete wasn't there. The likes of Maguire wasn't there. There was nobody to, in those set piece situations, to even put pressure on the defensive line. So we're toothless. So for me, I feel a lot of things that this result shows us, and I think one of the things it shows us that we can actually know how good this Manchester United side can be if we don't get midfielders. And for me, I think it's not just about getting midfielders. I've done a lot of analysis on players, and I feel that 3 midfielders Manchester United should be getting before the end. if you're ambitious enough, you can get them in January. For me, if I was the owner of Manchester United, the 3 players I'll be going for this January transfer window / summer transfer window to get the 3 of them in. Number 1, Carlos Baleba. Number 2, Elliot Anderson. And number 3, Ayo Tanaka. We have to get these 3 guys in. If I was the owner of Manchester United and I was the manager, these are the 3 players we have to get in if you're ambitious enough. Is forget all those other names that have been called. Get these 3. We need them. I think we get these 3, we need them. Get these 3, we need them. In the next 6 months or in the next few months that we have before the end of the season, we have to strategize this to get these guys in. You cannot know how good this team is until you get midfielders. Today's game showed it. The game could have been won in the midfield, but our midfield wasn't strong enough, and then we lost Bruno Fernandes. So guys, these are my opinions on the game and that loss, but I still believe you're on track. Funny enough, people might say, what are you saying? We're on track, we lost. It's about what you expect. So, but I think we just have to do more as a team. It's a painful loss, but nevertheless, we move on. We move on. Next game is going to be tougher. We move on. Newcastle is going to be tougher. We need to move on. I hope Bruno Fernandes is back. I really hope he's back. If not, it's going to be a horrid time against Newcastle. So, guys, let me have your opinion on this game. What do you think about this match? What do you think about my opinions? Drop it in the comment section. Let's have that discussion. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. And most importantly, don't forget to share. Until I see you next time. Bye.